Today is 16th November. Last time we did the get image. Today we'll do the get YouTube URLs. It's called get YouTube and followed by get files. File means that file URL location. I already explained last time we don't want to upload images and big file or video file to the server, so we will only ask user to put the get YouTube and file to the server. But if in case you really want to upload a video and images on the server, then in few days we will also do upload file, and that way you can take the video, images and file on the server also. We'll also see some of the objects concepts in JavaScript, and if time permits, today we'll start with data structure. Other we'll start that tomorrow, depending on how things go. From today, I'll also give the assignment which you have to finish. So every day there will be small assignment, and once you're done with the assignment, you have to give me the GitHub or GitLab URL. Maybe you can create a separate GitLab URL for each assignment, or you can put everything in one project and just use one project also, whatever you prefer. It's better you give different GitLab URL for every assignment. So the first assignment which I will give you, which we have already done, but I want to see how you are doing, I'll write down the first assignment which you have to show me by tomorrow. So if you did not get time today, if there's some problem, if you get some problem, then you can give me assignment day after tomorrow also. But in 1 or 2 days, try to finish it. So first assignment is something like this. You need to create a component, and in that component there will be input field, input box, normal HTML input box, and button. Simple button, normal button. And when user put something in the input box, you should update the state variable. And when user clicks the button, just show the state value of input box in console. Okay, so this is the first statement. You have only input box button. Yet when someone puts in the input box, you have to update the state variable. And when user clicks the button, you will just console.log the input value in the input box. And you have to use however I have taught you. Don't go on internet and find some different way to do this. You have to follow what I have taught you. That is, you have to use the hooks. And for hooks, you have to use the useState. Okay, and when someone clicks the button, you need to create a function called as handleSubmit. When you change something in the input box, you have to create a function called as handleChange. So these functions you have to create, and you have to use the useState to finish this first statement. So this is the first task which you have to do. Try to do without looking, but somehow if you have to look the videos again, then look at the videos and then try to do without looking this assignment. So this should be purely with your knowledge, and if you don't have the knowledge, then do it again and again. Okay, so and after you are done with learning the things, then only take this assignment and do it without looking. Okay, so this is the first assignment. Let's go to the YouTube one. So we have seen the input box get image last time. So we'll just do the get YouTube one. Okay, before going further, let me see what someone is asking. So this is the question someone asked me in the chat. So to solve this project, we need to learn add record, which we already know. We have done a lot of add project, but we need to display this daily transaction. That part we will do, and edit part also we will do, delete part will do. So right now you can start building this and try to add the user. That component you can build, but other things we can build slowly. So once you know the add, edit, delete, and view, you can build any kind of project which you want. So this is something about that one. Let me open the. Okay, so this one will start with the get image we did last time, and we'll do now get YouTube. Let me open the get YouTube. Okay, let me open the YouTube one. So this is my YouTube. Right side and left side is the get image, and we'll try to take the image and make the YouTube one. Okay. So like we have the import React, and then we have get input from the input box. So same thing we'll do, import input from input box. We need a couple of more things in this input in the YouTube, which I will add in some time. And I'll go inside the YouTube. Here we have title, name, placeholder, on change value. So these things will remain same. Rather than creating a separate line, I can deconstruct directly here at this point. Okay, I'm doing it here. So I need title, name, placeholder, on handleChange, and value. So whatever I put it here, I'm putting it now directly inside the function parameters in the curly bracket. Here I need the current value and state current value. So I'll write constant current value. So this is the state variable which will change when user will put something in the input box. So I can copy equal also. I just want to show that it's similar to the get image one. Okay, so just look at the right side. So we have created the state variables here on the get YouTube one. Okay, so this looks very big enough. So what I'll do, okay, let me make it a little smaller. Okay, so next line is we are done with the state variable. Next line is we have to take this state variable, that is O and set O, to display the cross icon on the text box. I put O and set O. I need the reference to manipulate the text box. Okay. Now we have so now I'll create few functions which I will use on the page. So the first function, maybe I have not added in the image, I will add it later, but I'll show you the first function which I will add it here is key down function. So whenever user presses the enter key, I should be able to manipulate something based on that. Second, I will create a function called as delete if someone wants to delete it. Third function I'll create is handleChange. So whenever user will change the input box, I need this function. And the last one is submit one, this one. handleSubmit. Okay, so key down is also there. Oh, I have written here also. Okay, so then no problem. And here on this one, I will I will copy whatever we have. So first is the input box. This is the input box. Let's copy input box. Okay, then after input box we have the O, and then we have the span to display the cross button. And I'll copy this cross button here. And then I'll close the div tag. This list part will do in a bit. Okay, somehow it's not going properly. Div tag is input tag is there. Okay, I have to do it outside this one. Not yet. Something is missing. Okay, after input tag, I have the value where I finish the value, and I have div tag. We are ending this O tag here. Okay. Okay, now it's good. So I have copied everything, whatever is display here. If you have done this yesterday, you can paste it here. Okay, let's check this now. Okay, key down is not defined, handle cancel is not defined on the YouTube JSX. Okay, I have to add one more function, cancel one. And key down is small letter down. So here I am seeing that YouTube is there, though it does not have the title, which I will add it now, and placeholder is also not there, which I'll add it now. So it should be similar to image one, and we have to do similar to image one. Let me add the props so that I can show the title. I'll copy from the get image part to the YouTube part, and here I'll say YouTube URLs. Name I'll give the YouTube or videos, whatever I have here. I have videos, I'll save it in the videos. Placeholder is enter video URL. And handle change is this handle change, and the value is form values.videos. And if I copy this part to the file, I can copy this, and here I can give file URLs. I can say files and the file URL. This will be any file, maybe PDF file, maybe a URL, maybe a google.com, like that URL will be there. So these files will be like that. YouTube should have only the YouTube URLs. How about we copy this whole get image in the YouTube and start from there, because I don't want to work again, which I did yesterday. So if you don't understand the image, go yesterday's video and check that video. It is similar. The only thing I'll change it here is I'll grab this line and put it in the function parameter, and I'll delete this line. Okay, and here also in the image also I'll change this. I'll grab this here and I'll put it here. So it's one and the same thing, but this is more standard to put it here rather than creating a new line. And now I'll test the YouTube at least till the image one. Means it should be similar to the image one. So I click it and I click enter. So it's showing the list of images, which we have to change it to YouTube URL, and we have to show the YouTube video here. Something like that we have to do. Okay, so this one is right now similar to image, but we need to modify it to a little bit to take the YouTube URLs. Okay, so let's fix that one. Okay. Now, if someone puts the YouTube URL in the image, we need to grab the YouTube ID, and we need to save the URL and ID, two things. Okay, so two things are needed. And first thing is we need to grab the ID. And to grab the ID, I have this function to grab the ID from the URL. So I'll create a function in the folder utilities, inside utility, I'll create a new file called as func.js. That is, all functions will stay in this file. And this is something function I got from internet. I can write myself, but it will be, I have to write the regular expression to get that and do it. But same thing I got on internet. It checks all the conditions and it gives the, all the ID, how to get the ID from the YouTube URL. So this is called the YouTube ID grabber. You can pause the video and then write down this whole function, or I'll give you in the chat section also of this, maybe in the group chat Telegram. I'll put it there, so you can get it from there also. So wherever you want, you can grab it. Okay. So this is the YouTube ID grabber. This will, what it will does, whenever I put the YouTube URL, it will give me the ID of that URL. So we'll test this now, how it works. So I will import. So whenever I export without the default, I can grab that using the curly bracket from utils and inside the utils I have funcs. That is the function file, func. All the function file which I created it, or make it funcs. Let's rename it to funcs. Functions. So I'll rename it to funcs. Okay. So I'm grabbing the YouTube ID grabber, and now whenever someone puts the URL, instead of only taking the URL, I will also take the ID. Right now, if I don't use this one, let's see what happens. I will also, so I'll check in the form value what happens. Now I'm not taking the ID of the URL, YouTube URL. I'll only put whatever currently we have. So let me grab one YouTube URL. Okay, let's take this one. So if I put YouTube URL and if I paste it, you see right now the video is going with the normal YouTube URL. I don't get ID because sometimes we need ID specifically. I only want to save this URL for my saving purpose, but I need specifically this ID, and without this ID I won't be able to do much for this URL. Okay, I don't want to send user to this URL to watch it. I want to show the video here only on my page. For that I need this ID, and to get this ID I created this YouTube ID grabber. Now let's take use of this one and see how it happens. So while submitting, I will, instead of putting only the current string value, I will put the object, and in the object I will say URL is current value. So whatever we have currently, it is a URL, and I need the ID of that URL. So ID, I will call this function, and in this function I'll put the URL, and I'll close the curly bracket. So previously I was only saving the URL, but now I'm saving the object, and in the object we have the two parameters. One is the two properties. One is the URL, second is the ID, and ID will be calling this function to grab exactly what ID I want to save it. Now if I show you, it will be like this. Let me show you now. Now if I start to save something in the YouTube URL, you will see in the videos I have the ID also, which is nothing but this one, and the URL. And this ID, I will use it to display the video on the page. Right now with the images, but now I have to display the YouTube videos so that I can play it directly from here rather than going to the YouTube and play it. This is the part done. I am getting the ID. I am saving the ID in the database also. I am saving like this format. Now next task is, based on this ID, I want to display the YouTube video here. We'll do that now. So to do that, I need to install one package, and that package is called ReactJoutube, and I have to grab import YouTube from ReactJoutube. So the package is called the ReactJoutube, and I will install it now. I'll say npm install save ReactJoutube. With this package, I will be able to display the YouTube URLs here on my page. So there are many packages available on the internet. You can go through any of the package and use that. This is the one which I found useful in my projects, so I'm using this one. But it's optional to use this one or use any other one. Directly, if you use the iframe which the YouTube provides, it will not work in the React one, and it will give some problems. So to fix that, we need to use these packages. So till it install, I will tell you what it does. It has some options which we have to use. This is called OPTS options, and I will give some options here. And in the options, we have the first option, player vars. And this player vars are actually nothing but from the Google, from the Google website. So if you go to developer.google.com YouTube and player parameter, you can see all the parameter, and you can use any of this parameter in this player vars. I will use some of the parameters here. First parameter I will put is autoplay equal to 0. I don't want video to start automatically on the page. It should let user click the start button to start it. Then I need the controls to be 1, that is play and stop button should be there. Then there is another parameter, I just put it, enable JS API. I just put 1, so it's saying JavaScript API. Somehow, since we're using API, I have to use this one, otherwise it doesn't work properly. So since we are using in API format, it's saying enable JS API, something like that. So if I don't put it, doesn't work properly. So I just put this one. So this is the options which we use for the YouTube one. And now we will go and display the YouTube one on the page. So instead of saying the list of images, I'll say list of YouTube URLs, YouTube videos, and value.map. This one will be same. We are looping the value, but here previously we were getting directly URL in the item. Now we will get two things. One is the URL and one is the ID. So we are only concerned with the ID now while displaying it. We are not concerned with the URL. So instead of image, I'll delete the image part. And I'll start with the div tag with class name of. Also the class name I have to take from the Bootstrap website, otherwise it will not work properly. If I go to get Bootstrap for the embed one, I have to use the class like this one. Okay. So I'll be using 16 by 9. So I grab this one. You can use other also. Let me put this here. So I have embed responsive and embed responsive 16 by 9. And instead of iframe, I will be using, okay, let me put this class name. Instead of iframe, I will be using this YouTube functionality. I'll use this YouTube component where class name will be embed responsive item. And there will be no source, there will be video ID. And video ID will be item.id. So it will be inside this item.id. I also need to pass the options which I created here. So I'll say OPTS equal to OPTS. So I created the YouTube, I call the YouTube component with the class name, video ID, and the options which I created in the top. Here the cross button will not work nicely because we are on the video. So instead of the cross button here, I will just create the delete. I'll create the delete text, and in the style, I will just say color of blue and cursor of pointer, and I'll create another div rather than the span text, so it will be below the video. So this will delete will display below the video. Now we will test it and see how it looks. Okay. Now I'll add the URL. As soon as I click enter, you will see the YouTube image here, video here, and I can play it here. Though it takes some time to load because it comes from the YouTube. And we are getting some, these three things are coming because of my ad blocker. This is the ad blocker. Because of that, I'm getting this. So this is fine. I don't want to display the ad on my website. So this is fine. I blocked this is browser issue, not the website issue. And this one is something, it's saying that this is not the HTTPS. That's the reason I'm getting this error. So once my website will go to the server in the real world, I expect this error to go away, because that will be HTTPS and this error will go away. Okay, and if it does not go, I will try to see what parameter I should put, and I'll try to fix this also. But right now, let it come. We'll see how to fix this later if this persists even when we go to HTTPS. Or if my website is only HTTP, then we have to fix this also. So right now I'm not concerned with this one, but I will tackle this later. And I can play the video here also. Okay, and I can delete it here. Let's add it again. Let's add few more. Okay, so I can add n number of video here, whatever I want. This is my karate videos, which I generally watch. Bruce Lee videos. Let's add it one more. You can put songs, you can put anything, you can put whatever you want. But I put this one. You can also build a nice song website where you can put all the songs here, and user can watch one by one song, whatever he put it on this one. Okay, so this one is very. So rather than getting the YouTube video on our website, I prefer this way, because this way we are not jamming our website with so many video upload. Facebook is big company, they have the very load balancer servers, lot of servers are there, lot of space is there, they can take the video and show it to the user. But if I make my website, I don't have so much big server like Facebook, so I will be building like this only. So my real website will be with this one, but I will also give the option to upload the video also. Sometimes video blocks, sometimes YouTube blocks the video of some people, and that time I want people to upload on my website so that it is not blocked. Then I will give that option also if I want. Let's take one more video so that I can see the next line. This is the next line one. So like we have the image URL, now we have the videos here, and whatever video I want, I can watch it here. See, I'm playing all the 4 at one time. Okay, so this is something we finished the YouTube videos. We yesterday finished the images one. Today we finish the YouTube videos. And tomorrow we will do the files. The file upload, which I told you. This is the get file one. That file will be, linked to the PDF. Many times I want to, share my ebooks to other people, so I can give the PDF link, and then they can go to the PDF link and download it. So that is the purpose of the get file, which will also similar to the get image. The only purpose change will be the display part. Here the display part is image, and in the file there will be link. In the YouTube it is the videos. So that's the difference between the two. So any questions on this one? This one is, you can build very interesting website with only the YouTube videos. Just you can ask people to put, you can create your own title, that is songs. You put all the songs one, then create another post of you can create of. So this is the ad page. So one page will be for songs. It will have all songs video. Then second record will be movies. It will be all movies. So whatever you feel, you can create that page and add the videos based on that. Yes. So we have only the ID of that URL and URL on our website. All this video is coming from the YouTube. So basically we are serving this video from the YouTube. So that way our website bandwidth will be not used. This is used by the YouTube one. So we have only the link. Rest everything is coming from the YouTube. So you can build a whole website like YouTube, but all videos is coming from the YouTube, but display is on your website. Okay, so that being said, we will now move to our object part. We started the objects. Now we will do little more on the objects. If we did not want to show the YouTube, what do you mean by did not want to show YouTube? Means what? What do you mean by you did not want to show the YouTube? You mean this link, YouTube link, or video from the YouTube, or what? What do you mean by if you did not want to show the YouTube? So you want to show videos on your website, right? You don't want to show the video on the YouTube. Then you need to upload the video on the server, your server, and then show that video directly from your server. So if you don't want to show the video from the YouTube, then instead of putting the YouTube URL, you have to give the upload link like file upload and let user upload the video on your server. Then you can show the video from your server. I already told that is possible. The only problem with that is you need high bandwidth on your server and lot of space, because if users will come, they will upload millions of videos, and you should be able to capable to handle those millions of videos. Then you can show it. Okay. Although I'll show you the demo of that one also, but that one, think of that is only for learning purpose, not for real purpose, real website. I will put this first assignment in the chat also, so that anyone who wants to assignment number 1. So if you do wrong, that's fine. If you stuck somewhere in the first assignment, that's fine. Try to see the past video if you don't know how to do it, and do it yourself. So this way your memory will get sharp and next project will be easy. Okay, let's go to our object part. We finished the object, creating the object. Though this is not the only way to create the object, there are other ways also to create the object, which we will see in few days. Now next part today is accessing the object's properties. So once we have the object like this, how to access the property, that is name, last name, how to access that. So there are two ways to access this property. One way is called dot notation, and another way is called bracket notation. So we'll see both the ways how to access. So I'll create one object. This is my object with first name equal to John. And last name equal to Doe. Now I have to access the properties using the dot notation. To access the property using the dot notation, I will say details.firstName. If I say details.firstName, it will display John. Or if I access the details.lastName, it will say Doe. I can also use the second way, that is a bracket notation, using this way. I can say details, and then I can start the rectangular bracket, and then I start single quote or double quote. I can say first name. It will be same, the John. Answer will be same. I can also call the last name like this, and the answer will be Doe. So either I can use this dot name or the rectangular bracket. Sometimes the dot name is not even allowed. Like for example, I have key like something special characters. Then this time I cannot call this using the dot notation like this. It's not allowed. So with this I need to call this rectangular one only. So you have the option to use the dot or bracket one, but in some case only the bracket one will work and dot one will not work. Let's take another example. I have variable book. Name of book is Learn React. Published in 2020. Author is let's say author name is Biju. Okay, so this is the object. Now I can use book.name to display the name, or I can use book of bracket book of name to access the name. Now to access the author name, I can say book.author.name. So here I'm going to book, then author, then name. I can also say book of author of name. I can also say book.author and then mix and match. One is in dot notation, one is the bracket notation. This is also correct. Or I can say book of author dot name. So to access this thing, we have different ways. Either go with dot notation or go with bracket notation or go with dot bracket, mix and match. So don't worry about destructuring. Don't think of destructuring like this one. Only think of because you will get confused of destructuring. This is something different than destructuring. Don't think of even destructuring while learning this part. Another way to use the bracket notation rather than dot notation is sometime when we get dynamic variable. For example, I have let's say I want to access this name. Okay, let me change this to first name and last name also. Joseph is the last name. So I want to access the first name or last name, and this key will come dynamically. So for one time, let's say first time it is coming, key is coming, first name. Okay. So I don't know which will come. It will dynamic. It is given by the user. So if it is dynamic, then I can use book.author. And then here I want to use rectangular bracket like key. Key means what I get here, the value, that is the first name. So it will be the book.author.firstname and it will display the Biju. I cannot say like this. Book.author.key. This is wrong. If I say key, it will try to search key here. There is no key here. It is the first name and last name. If there is another parameter called key, then it will display the key. But this key I mean is the dynamic value, which is the first name. So I want the first name, and to access the first name, I can use only this rectangular bracket, to access the first name. If I put this one, then I'll get the Biju. But if I do this one, then I'll get error that key does not exist. So let me ask one thing now. I'll create this variable. I'll add another one also, key. And key is, for example, hello. No, I created this object. Now I'll create a variable called as, let's say, x equal to first name. Now you tell me, when I say book dot when I say book dot author, if I say author dot key, key is now confusing. Okay, let me create another one. Sorry, this is little confusing. I'll create a variable called as key equal to first name. Now tell me, when I say book.author.key, what will come? When I say book.author.key, what will come? What will be displayed? It will be displayed Biju, or it will be displayed hello. It will display hello, because if I say dot key, it is taking this part. But what if I say book.author, and in the rectangular bracket I will put key here. Here I will put key. What will be displayed? Now if I put key, yes, so if I put key, it will take this key, and that is the first name, and it will be the first name, which will be the Biju. And if I change this key here to last name, then key will go as a last name, and I will take Joseph. So if I want to take some dynamic variable, I will use only the rectangular bracket. Dot notation will not work. Dot notation will work only if I have some parameter with that dot notation. So if key is there, then only I can use dot key. Otherwise, if I want to use first name and last name based on this variable name, I will always use rectangular bracket. This is same thing which we did while we were doing React, and we were trying to get the name and the event.target.value, because name was coming dynamic, and that's the reason we took the rectangular bracket at that time. So this is about how to access the object properties. Okay, let's go to the next one. Next one is this is the properties. Next one is the method. So here we are accessing the properties. Let's say we have to access the method. Method means if we have in the book, if we have something, a function called as read, and it is the function. It is the function. Let's say I can say console read is saying console.log I am, and I want to refer this one, what you call as name. So how can I access this name here? I can say book.name. Okay, so book.name is this one, and I can say here. There are other way to say that, which I will show you in some time, maybe today or tomorrow. But this is one of the way to access this name. So when I say read, it's saying I am book.name. And I can access this read part similarly as I'm accessing other things. Like I can say book.read. So as we access the variable like simple variable, here, since this is a function, I can access using the book.read, and I execute the function. So this is called accessing the methods. This is called the method, and we are accessing the method using this way. So let's say if I copy this, and I say book.read, so I'm saying I am learning React. When I do console.log, I am book.name. Book.name is book.name. Name is this one. So it is displaying book.name. I can also say I can also write down like book, and I'll use the rectangular bracket called as read, and then I can put the execute command. Then also it is saying I am learning React. So if I say book.read, that is also giving this one, or I use the rectangular bracket in the book read, and I am executing that one. This is also will give me the same result. So as far as most probably you have to use the dot one, and if somehow dot one does not work or is not possible, then only you have to use this rectangle. So this is the standard to use object. Though you can use this every time, but this is not the standard. Standard is this one, book.read, and you have to use the dot notation. But sometimes it is not possible, as I showed you few cases, and that time you have to use the rectangular bracket. So next topic here will be in the object. Next topic will be altering the object. So we created this object. Now we have to alter. Alter means we have to update this object. We have to change the object. We are saying altering the object. One second. So in the altering, you can alter or you can change. What you can say, you can change. You can add the properties in the object. You can delete the properties in the object, and you can edit also. Properties or methods, whatever you want to do, you can do. Another thing you can do also like this, you can create a variable or object, for example, obj equal to an empty object like curly bracket, and then add the properties later on. For example, I can say object.name equal to mango. Okay, so what you did, object dot, you give the name. Object dot type, you are saying type, it's the fruit, for example. Okay, and then you can create a function also, object dot say equal to function, and here you can say return or console.log. Let's return it. Return object.name. So now when I say object.say, it will return this mango. So initially I created the empty object, and then I try to add the properties. I can update also by changing the object.name to some other thing. I can delete also using the delete command by saying object.name. So if I say delete object.name, this property will be gone and you cannot access it later. So let's run this one, and then I'll say object.say, it's saying mango because return is the name. I can delete also. So it's saying true, that means object.name is gone. If I run object, it has only the type now and the say function. Now if I say again object.say, it is saying undefined because name is gone. I can add it again. And now again, if I say object.say, it will say apple because it is apple now. So you can manipulate the object as you want. Now, here if you see the object, let's take that another example which I have. Okay, this one. Let's take this example. So instead of console.log, I will just return it. Okay, so I'm returning the text. Since I'm returning, I will use the concatenate plus icon so that I can say here. So now if I say book.read, it's saying it's saying learn React. Okay, what is the name? Whatever the name is, it's showing that one. Okay, now instead of book.name, I can also use this. So this will refer to this object, that is the book, and it will say this.name, and that will be the same this one. So here I am putting book.name because the name of object is book. But since we are inside this book one only, I can also say this.name. That will be same as book.name. So if I do it again now, it is showing the same result which it was showing here. So whenever we are inside the function, inside the object, we always use this to refer that object rather than hard-codedly saying the book.name. Okay, so instead of book, we will say this. So this is the current object which we are this. We are in this book object, and that's the reason this.name will work and this.name will show the learn React. So this is called as the this value. Let me write down so you can remember it. Using this value. So I will give example again. So here we call book.name to refer to the name property of the book, and there is another way to access this property, and that is using this.name. So here instead of book.name, I can use this.name. And this, what will be the this one? This one is nothing but this object. Which object? This book object. There is a lot more about this one, which you will see soon. When I type directly this, you will see I'm getting the window object. This window object is the global object, and it has so many things inside it. So this is something, this whole browser is a window object, and it has so many things which we can do in this page. This is all complete JavaScript, we can say. Whatever function we see in the JavaScript is inbuilt function, it is there here. But when we go with the object, if I do console.log of this, okay, so let's do this one. And when I say object.read, okay, book.read, sorry. So you will see This now it does not have the window which we see here. This now is this object. It has the name, published, read, and some prototype object, prototype property, proto, which we will see later on. But at least you see this now inside this function is referring to the book, and that's the reason I'm able to read the name by saying this.name. So this is a short part of the this. We will see much more detail about the this in future class. Right now, just remember this one only. So that's it for today. If you have any question, you can ask.